I frickin' love this game. I may have just played Psychonauts, but it was not my first time playing it. I've played this game a whole bunch, many times over like the past decade. I've come back every couple of years and played it again because I just love it. The gameplay is fun, the story and writing is excellent, the world is so interesting and fun and creative. The voice acting is super freaking good, honestly probably some of the best I've ever heard in like any video game. The art design is cool, the music is cool, just like everything about Psychonauts is just great. It's awesome. It does like everything right. For a long time, Psychonauts was my favorite 3D platformer. It's only been usurped in recent years by the likes of Super Mario Odyssey and A Hat in Time. But it still holds a very solid third place. I still love this game to this day. And with Psychonauts 2 finally having a release date and finally coming out someday before we all die, I wanted to replay the game and give myself a bit of a refresher. Wasn't really necessary at all because I've played the game enough times that I still remembered the story for the most part, but it was still fun just to go back and play this game again. I really don't have many issues with Psychonauts at all. The only main problem that I would say is that 100%ing this game can be a bit of a pain because you have to get pretty much everything, and the tracking on collecting stuff, specifically figments, is kind of a nightmare. So if you've never played Psychonauts before, first of all, absolutely play it. It's a fantastic game. But secondly, I would not necessarily recommend going for 100%. You may want to tear your hair out by the end of it. And another thing I think needs to be said is that while Psychonauts is a very fun game, the real draw here is the story and the writing. Like, I'd probably say that like 60% of the enjoyment of playing Psychonauts comes from all of the great story and writing and dialogue and characters and all that kind of stuff. There's just so much creativity and fun and so many funny jokes and just all kinds of awesome stuff. Psychonauts is just fantastic. By the way, to comment on the way I do the race right here, something that most people don't know about Psychonauts is that you can, like, arena FPS style bunny hop, and if you jump the very moment that you hit the ground, then you're not going to lose any speed, and you can use that to just get ridiculous amounts of speed and maintain it for a really long time. There's really no reason to do this, but it's really fun and really cool. And this was my first time playing the game since I learned you could do this, and it's really fun for getting around. And honestly, that's all I really have to say about the game, so how about some Psychonauts 2 wishlist stuff, because at the time of making this video, it's still not out yet. So a bit of a spoiler warning here for Psychonauts, and possibly also Rhombus of Ruin. I haven't played that game for myself yet because I don't have a VR headset, but I did watch a playthrough of it since it takes place between Psychonauts 1 and 2. So here we go. Watch out for spoilers. First thing to say is I have not paid super close attention to like the trailers and information about Psychonauts 2 before its release. The day that Psychonauts 2 was announced, I was like, alright, I'm in, all I need is a release date, and I've been holding to that pretty much. I watched very few trailers, only like the first 2 trailers that ever came out for the game, and honestly, even that was too much. I know more about that game than I would like to. I want to go into Psychonauts 2 as blind as possible. But there are a couple of things I know. I guess also spoiler warning for very early vague stuff from Psychonauts 2 in case you want to go in even blinder than me. Anyway, I know that it follows up the Ending of Psychonauts 1 and Rhombus of Ruin, all that Truman Zanotto rescue stuff, so that's cool. I'm interested to see where that goes. And I'm pretty sure it takes place at, like, Psychonauts headquarters, which that's interesting. I definitely want to see what that place is like. And I believe that the villain is some lady? I don't really know. That's pretty much all I got, is some lady is the villain. Okay, sure, whatever. I know that there's gonna be that, like, 70s psychedelic brain, and that's Jack Black's character's brain. And I know that I think the first brain is Dr. Loboto, and I know that Raz's entire family is in the game, the Aquatos, and that's very interesting. And that's pretty much everything I know, so here's what I want out of Psychonauts 2. Number one is I would like a bit more of a proper explanation of why Raz's dad did not want him becoming a Psychonaut. They touch on it very, very, very briefly at the end of Psychonauts 1, but it's really not enough. They have like one really quick line at the end where Raz's dad is like, "We have many enemies, I was trying to protect you," and that's it. So a bit more of a proper explanation there why he didn't want Raz becoming a Psychonaut would be good, especially considering that he's a very powerful psychic, as we see at the ending of Psychonauts 1. So what's the deal? I also hope, I don't know if this is going to be the case, but I want the story to in some way be involved with that curse on Raz's family where they're all gonna die in water. A bit more of an explanation of like what that is, how that happened, who put that on them. Maybe have that be the villain and ultimate bad guy that we gotta stop at the end of the game. That might be pretty cool, I don't know. One thing that I thought would be really cool for a brain is I'd love to go into Ford Kruller's brain and try to fix it. It could be all splintered and broken with lots of multiple personalities in there, all doing like mundane, weird stuff, and then you gotta find like the real Ford Kruller that's in the middle of all that mess and try to get him all back together into one piece, however that would turn into a level. I'm sure you get what I mean, just from what I'm saying. Then once you complete that level, Ford would be all back together in his head, and he wouldn't have all the multiple personalities and stuff. I think that would be pretty cool. Another brain that I really, really, really want to go into is Lily's brain. Lily is such a cool and interesting character, I would love to get to know more about her. I don't really care what her brain is, I just want to go in there, because I'm sure whatever Double Fine comes up with would be super cool and creative and fun and cute. And on that topic, actually, the number one thing that I want for Psychonauts 2 more than anything, I want Lily to be playable. And there's a couple of different ways you could do that. You could do that like Crash Bandicoot style with him and Coco, where they play 100% identically and you can just switch which one you're playing as. But I imagine that's probably not feasible because Psychonauts has so much dialogue in it that you would have to write a set of dialogue for every single interaction, whether you're playing as Raz or Lily. And that'd probably be way too much work for them to justify doing, so that's probably not the case. Another thing you could do is have it that you can switch between Raz and Lily, and they each have different abilities, different psychic powers. Maybe Lily can go into water and Raz can't, stuff like that. Then you could swap between them at either swap points or maybe wherever you want or something, I don't know. And that would be pretty cool, but it could also kind of be very limiting onto the story, because it would mean that Raz and Lily could never really be separated from each other. I guess you could do that where you just have levels where you don't use one or the other, but still I feel like it might put a hefty amount of narrative limitations on what they could do, so I imagine that probably wouldn't be the case either. So the last thing I could see them doing that could be realistic is they could take one small section of the game, maybe at most like one brain, and you play that part as Lily. And she could have like 2 or 3 unique psychic powers that only she can do that you only use in that one level. That could work, and that could still be pretty cool. Honestly, I don't really care. I just want to play as Lily. I mean, have you seen her? She's so freaking cute. Just, goddammit, make her playable. I don't care how. Just do it. Please. Urgh. Can you tell I'm excited for Psychonauts 2? Anyway, that's it. Don't really have anything else to say. Psychonauts good. Me look forward to Psychonauts 2.
Let's rendezvous tonight at the old boathouse for debriefing.
This is so cool!
Yeah! It feels like that time in True Psychic Tales 314 where